Hi guys, it's Jessica again from the Youth Services Department of the Finkelstein Memorial Library. I am going to show you how to make paper flowers, or more specifically paper roses today. You need a pair of scissors. You need, if you have it, a hot glue gun and hot glue sticks. If not, you can probably use some traditional, school glue or glue sticks, and it would just be a craft that you need to do in steps as opposed to something that you can do all at once. And if you're using regular glue, you might find paper clips helpful for holding it in place until it dries, and then you can move on to the next step. And then you need your paper, which I'm going to give you a few different options for that, just to make it more exciting. You can certainly just use regular white paper or regular colored paper like construction paper or printer paper, or even loose leaf, honestly, from a notebook or binder. But to make it more fun, you can also use either paper that you have colored on, or even pages from like a coloring book maybe that's hanging around the house, or that a younger sibling colored and now doesn't really care about. You can even just scribble on some plain white paper, and then when you cut it to make the flowers, it will, create some fun patterns. You can also use the technique that I used in a couple of my other videos of melting crayons. You can do that as long as you protect the surface. You could do that on just some plain white printer paper, and then you'll have some really cool crayon decorated paper. It might crumble a little bit once you start folding it into the shape of the flower, but could still probably work. Or even paint with some watercolors or some other kind of paint that you have around the house. Just, drip it on the paper in various designs, and that could work too. Or you can do the option that I'm doing with this poor, sad book that was donated to the library a few months ago. A whole bunch of Harry Potter books were donated, and the ones that were in good shape we added to the collection for our patrons to be able to check out. And the ones that were in this kind of shape, I actually stored away to use for crafts, which some of the teens and kids that have worked with me know that I really love using old magazines and books that have fallen into disrepair for crafts at the library. So I'm going to be using this copy of Harry Potter. Shh. Don't destroy books if they are not already falling apart. That's coming from a librarian. But if you have some books hanging around that, maybe you've outgrown and you really don't have anything else to do with them, maybe make them into some beautiful flowers. But like I said, you have some other options if you don't have any books that are already falling apart, or if you just cannot bring yourself to tear a page out of a book, because I understand. So the first thing you'll need are 4 square pieces of paper that are all the same size. So I'm gonna re-angle the camera down, and I'll show you how to get that. Okay, so here we are. So initially, all of your pages are the same size. However, we need them to be a square. So the first step of the flower is actually to fold your square paper in half diagonally. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold this so that this corner is going up to the top edge, and this corner here is going to be our guide. So you basically want that to be up to that top edge, and then just make a crease. So it looks like this, and then we're just going to cut off this flappy end. There. So before we move on, we're going to do that with all 4 pieces. So that is scrap, and everything should be about the same size when you open them back up. Beautiful. Okay, so now you fold it in that half, and then you fold it again. And then you fold it again. Three folds. So you can do that with all of your paper. Okay, so now you have the folded part, and you are going to cut into the petal shape. So basically this is going to be the inside of your petal, and then you're just going to cut right along there. There you go. And then you're going to do that with all of them, and you want them to be, relatively the same. So you can use the first one as a guide for the rest. Next, you are going to cut off the tip of each one. So you're going to take the first one. You can see that you have some petals here, right? So basically where it is folded. So we have the folds. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 petals. So in the first one, you're going to cut out one of those petals. So just cut along the fold. Okay, and you will use that cutout piece later. So just set it aside and set that aside. The next one, you're going to cut out 2 petals. So 1, 2. Next one, you're going to do 3. One, 2, 3. There's your third. And then the last one, you're going to do 4, which basically means you're just cutting it in half. Okay, so one of the fourth pieces is actually not going to be used. So you can set that aside and use it for another flower if you want to make a few different ones. So that means that for your next flower, instead of 4 pages, you only need 3 because this will be one of them. So now what you're going to do for the larger pieces, so for the 4, 5, 6, and 7, you're going to glue them into circles with the hot glue, and you're going to overlap a full petal. So you're going to put the hot glue here and then overlap that petal right over like that. So this is the part where if you don't have a hot glue gun and you're using regular glue, you can still do it, but this is the part where you're going to have to wait for the glue to dry before you can move on. So you can glue it with the regular Elmer's glue or glue stick, and then you can paper clip it and just set it aside until it dries for, an hour or so. Another option, you guys see the little kitty down there? The other option is to staple it if you don't have glue at all, or if you just don't want to wait for regular glue to dry, you can also just staple the flowers into shape. I'm not sure that that would work for the end. I think that you do need glue for the end of the craft, but at least for this step, if you want to staple it, you can. So, yeah. So let's get gluing. My hot glue gun has been heating up. And of course, you need to use a lot of caution when working with a hot glue gun, because boy, does it get hot. See, you still have that little opening. Okay. So then this one, you don't overlap all the way because there's only 2 petals. So you just have to curl it around itself. Just a little roll. Okay, now that we have all of our pieces, we can curl them. So you want to find a pencil or a pen and just curl back the petal. Okay. So the little ones don't fold back as much, but now you just glue them all together with the smallest one on the inside. So we're going to go in this order. Just like that. So we're going to start with this and just put a little hot glue just right around the bottom like that. And glue it right in there. So there you go. That's the very first layer. And you just keep going. And there we go. You've got a paper rose. So what you do with these is up to you. So what you do with your paper rose is up to you. You can, if you glue it the right way, there is a little hole still at the bottom that I can just see a speck of light through when I look through there. So you can always string them on some string and make a garland. You can just place them around your room just as decor. Personally, I think it'd be really great once quarantine is over to take all of my paper flowers and make a really pretty wreath out of it that I could hang on my front door or give as a gift to a friend. You can use, if you do want to do that, then you would just go to the craft store and get, either you would go to the craft store and get maybe like a styrofoam ring, or you could probably even use some cardboard that you just cut into a ring. You would wrap it in fabric, hot glue it on there as you wrap it in fabric. You would tie a ribbon around the top of the ring to use for hanging. And then you can just either hot glue your flowers right onto it, Or if you're getting really creative, you could use some sort of pin to pin from the back. But I'm sure that you can also just glue the roses on and they would look absolutely beautiful. You could throw some glitter on there, throw some paint on there. The possibilities with these are really endless. They are very beautiful if you ask me. And this was my first time making one. So if I can make it look halfway decent on my first try, then so can you. And you know, we did get a little bit into Harry Potter here. I'm a Ravenclaw. What are you? Comment below. Let me know what house you are. All right. Have a nice day, guys. We'll see you next time.